At the family picnic, my dad said, "Why did you come with the child?" He made my 8-year-old daughter feel uncomfortable around her cousins. But then my sister's husband suddenly got angry and told them to shut their mouths. And then my dad looked at my daughter like she was a stain on his favorite shirt. That's the moment I knew this family picnic was about to turn into something none of us would ever forget. And honestly, I still can't believe what happened after that. My name is Jolene. Most people call me Jo. I'm 34, I'm a single mom, and I have the most incredible 8-year-old daughter named Chloe. She's got these big brown eyes that could melt anyone except apparently my own father. Let me back up a little because you need context for this. My family, the Hargrove family of Knoxville, Tennessee, has this tradition. Every June we do this big outdoor picnic at my parents' property. They've got about 2 acres out by the lake and my mom Diane goes all out. We're talking tablecloths, matching plates, homemade cornbread, smoked ribs. The whole production. Now here's the thing. I hadn't been to one of these picnics in 3 years. 3 years. And the reason is simple. I stopped being the person they wanted me to be. See, in the Hargrove family there's a very specific role for every person. My older sister, Nadine, she's the golden child. Married to a wonderful man named Derek, 2 kids, house in the suburbs, teaches 4th grade. She's the trophy daughter. My younger brother, Garrett, he's the baby, 28 and still borrowing money from my dad, but somehow that's fine because he's figuring things out. And then there's me. I was supposed to be the quiet middle child who did whatever everyone needed. Drive mom to her appointments? Jo will do it. Watch Garrett's dog for 3 weeks? Jo doesn't mind. Babysit Nadine's kids every weekend so she and Derek could go on dates? Jo's got nothing better to do. And for a long time I did it. I did all of it. I smiled and I showed up and I said yes to everything because I thought that's what family meant. Then Chloe's dad, Travis, left when she was 2. Just packed a bag one morning and said he wasn't cut out for this. And you know what my dad said to me? He didn't say, "I'm sorry." He didn't say, "We're here for you." He said, "Well, Jo, maybe if you'd been a little easier to live with, he would have stayed." Let that sit with you for a second. My own father said that to me while I was holding my 2-year-old daughter who just lost her dad. And my mom? She just stood there and changed the subject to what she was making for dinner. That was the beginning of the end for me. Not all at once, it took another year or so. But I started saying no. No, I can't babysit Saturday, I'm taking Chloe to the park. No, I can't drive you to the store, Mom, I have work. No, Garrett, I'm not lending you $300. And oh my God, you would have thought I committed a crime. The text started. Nadine telling me I was being selfish. My mom calling me cold. My dad just stopped calling altogether. And that hurt the most if I'm being honest. So I stopped going to things. Birthdays, holidays, the annual picnic. For 3 years it was just me and Chloe and honestly, we were okay. We had our little apartment, our routines, our movie nights with way too much popcorn. But then Nadine called me. And the thing about Nadine is that she and I have this complicated relationship. She's judged me plenty, but deep down I don't think she's a bad person. She just follows whatever my parents say because it's easier. She called and said, "Jo, Mom really wants you at the picnic this year. She says she misses Chloe." And I, like a fool, believed it. So I bought Chloe a new sundress. This little yellow thing with daisies on it. She was so excited. She kept asking me about her cousins, Nadine's kids, Brayden who's 10 and Lily who's 6. Chloe barely remembered them, but she'd seen pictures and she wanted to play with them so badly. She asked me 3 times in the car if they were going to like her. 3 times. An 8-year-old asking if her own cousins would like her. Do you understand how that feels as a mother? We pulled up to my parents' place and I could see the whole setup from the driveway. Folding tables, coolers, lawn chairs. My mom had really outdone herself. Garrett was already there with his new girlfriend. Some woman named Tasha I'd never met. Nadine and Derek were setting up a badminton net with the kids. And there was my dad standing by the grill, wearing that ridiculous grill master apron he's had since 2009. I took a deep breath, took Chloe's hand and walked over. My mom saw us first. She came over and hugged Chloe and for a second I thought maybe I was wrong about everything. Maybe people change. Maybe 3 years was enough time. Then my dad turned around. He looked at me. Then he looked at Chloe. And he didn't smile. He just said, loudly enough that Garrett and Tasha and Nadine all heard, "Why did you come with the child?" Not, "Oh, there's my granddaughter." Not, "Chloe, you've gotten so big." Just, "Why did you come with the child?" Like she was luggage. Like she was an inconvenience I should have left at home. Chloe's hand squeezed mine so hard. She didn't say a word. She just squeezed. I opened my mouth to say something, I don't even know what, and my mom jumped in with, "Oh, Frank, stop. Let them sit down." But she said it the way you'd apologize for a dog barking. Like it was just a small annoyance and not a man rejecting his own granddaughter to her face. I should have turned around right then. I know that. You're probably thinking I should have picked up my kid and walked right back to the car. And you're probably right. But Chloe looked up at me with those brown eyes and whispered, "It's okay, Mama. I want to play with the kids." So I stayed. Because sometimes being a mom means swallowing your own pain so your kid can have 20 minutes of happiness. Garrett came over with Tasha and he greeted me like nothing happened. "Hey Joe, long time. Like I just been away on vacation." Tasha smiled politely, but I could tell she already knew the family dynamics because she kept glancing between me and my dad like she was watching a nature documentary. I sat Chloe down near Brayden and Lily, and here's where it got worse. Brayden, and look, he's 10 so I don't fully blame him, looked at Chloe and said, "My mom says you don't come around because your mom is difficult." A 10-year-old said that. To my daughter's face. Chloe looked at me and I could see her lip trembling, and I swear something inside me cracked wide open. But before I could even get to her, Derek, Nadine's husband, the one person in this entire family I never expected anything from, stood up from the badminton net, walked over to Brayden and said, "That was rude and you're going to apologize right now." Brayden looked shocked. But Mom said, "I don't care what anybody said. You apologize to your cousin." Brayden mumbled, "Sorry." And Derek put his hand on Chloe's shoulder and said, "Hey Chloe. We're really glad you're here. Lily's been wanting to show someone her cartwheel. You want to see it?" And just like that, Chloe smiled. This huge, gap-toothed smile. And she ran off with Lily to the yard. I looked at Derek and he just gave me this little nod. Like, "I got you." Now here's what you need to understand about Derek. He married into this family 7 years ago. He's a quiet guy, works as an electrician, doesn't say much at family gatherings. But he sees everything. And the thing about quiet people is, when they finally talk, everyone listens. That moment at the badminton net? That was just the beginning. Because what my dad said next, about an hour into that picnic, made everything so much worse. And what Derek did in response. I still get chills thinking about it. My dad had been drinking. Not a lot, but enough to loosen whatever filter he barely had to begin with. We were all sitting around the tables eating, and Chloe was between me and Lily chatting about school, happy as could be. And my dad from across the table says to Garrett, but loud enough for everyone to hear, "That kid is the spitting image of Travis. Shame, she'll probably turn out just like him." Dead silence. My mom looked down at her plate. Nadine's eyes went wide. Even Tasha put her fork down. And I just sat there, frozen. Because what do you even say to that? This man, my father, just told a table full of family members that my daughter was going to grow up to be a deadbeat like her absent father. While she was sitting right there. Chloe didn't fully understand it, but she understood enough. She understood the tone. She understood the silence that followed. She looked up at me and said, "Mama, did I do something wrong? Do you know what it feels like to hear your child ask that?" I was about to grab Chloe and leave. I was done. But then Derek, quiet, doesn't cinch, minds his own business, Derek, slammed his hand on the table and said, "Frank, shut your mouth." Everyone froze. My dad's face went red. Nadine whispered, "Derek." But Derek wasn't done. "No," he said. "I'm serious. Shut your mouth. That's a child. She's 8 years old. She's your granddaughter and you're sitting here talking about her like she's garbage? What is wrong with you?" My dad tried to come back with something, but Derek cut him off. "And the rest of you, Diane, Garrett, Nadine, you're all just sitting here letting him talk like this? About a little girl?" Nobody said a word. Derek stood up, walked around the table and crouched down next to Chloe. He said, "Hey kiddo. You didn't do anything wrong, okay? Not a single thing. How about you and Lily go get some of that pie Grandma made?" Chloe nodded and took Lily's hand, and the two of them ran off to the dessert table. And then Derek turned back to the rest of the family and said something I will never forget. "Joe hasn't been around because you people drove her away. And now she shows up, brings her daughter, and this is how you act? If this is how this family treats its own, then I'm embarrassed to be part of it." Then he sat back down and started eating his coleslaw like he hadn't just detonated a bomb in the middle of a family picnic. I was crying. I couldn't help it. Not sad crying, relief crying. Because for the first time in years, somebody said what I'd been feeling out loud. And it wasn't some stranger. It was my sister's husband, a guy who had absolutely no obligation to stick his neck out for me. My dad got up from the table and walked toward the house without saying a word. My mom followed him, looking mortified. Garrett sat there looking uncomfortable, and Tasha, bless her, just patted his arm like, "Don't even think about opening your mouth." Nadine turned to Derek and whispered, "Did you have to do that here?" And Derek said, "When else was I supposed to do it? At the next picnic she doesn't come to?" Nadine didn't have an answer for that. So there I was, sitting at a family picnic where my father had just insulted my daughter, my brother-in-law had just told everyone off, and my child was eating pecan pie completely unaware that the adults around her were falling apart. And honestly, that was just the first hour. Because what happened when my dad came back outside, and what Garrett's girlfriend Tasha accidentally revealed to me in the kitchen, things got so much messier before they got better. I'll tell you exactly how it all unfolded because this story is far from over. So after Derek's outburst at the table, everyone just scattered. Nadine started wiping down tables that were already clean. Garrett buried his face in his phone. My parents disappeared inside. And I sat in a lawn chair watching Chloe and Lily catch fireflies near the tree line, trying to hold myself together. Derek sat down next to me. Didn't say anything at first. Just handed me a sweet tea from the cooler. After a minute he said, "You all right?" I laughed. Not because anything was funny. Because nobody in this family had asked me that question in years. "For what it's worth," he said, "I've wanted to say that to your dad for a long time. Why didn't you?" He glanced at Nadine, who was scrubbing a perfectly clean table like it owed her money. "Your sister asked me not to get involved. And now I watched a grown man make an 8-year-old feel like trash at her own family gathering. There's a line. He crossed it. I wanted to hug him. But I just nodded because one more kind word and I was going to lose it completely. Now here's where things took a turn I absolutely did not see coming. About 20 minutes later I went inside to use the bathroom. And walking through the kitchen I heard Tasha, Garrett's girlfriend, on the phone by the back window. She didn't see me. The house was silent so I heard every word. "No babe, it's worse than he told me. His dad is awful." No, Garrett didn't say anything, he never does. He told me before we came that his sister was the dramatic one who caused problems. But honestly, she's the most normal person here. I couldn't move. This woman I'd met 2 hours ago could already see what my own family refused to admit. But then she said something that knocked the air right out of me. And get this, Garrett told me his dad is changing the will. Cutting Joe out of the lake property completely. Leaving it just to Garrett and Nadine because, and this is a direct quote, she made her choice when she stopped showing up. I grabbed the counter because my knees actually buckled. That lake property. My grandmother Opal built that house with my grandfather. She told me herself, sitting on that very porch the summer before she died, that it would go to all 3 of us kids equally. She held my hand and said, "This place is yours too, Jolene. Don't let anyone tell you different." And now my dad was erasing me from it because I stopped being everyone's servant. Tasha turned and saw me. Her face went white. "Joe, I didn't." "It's okay," I said. And I meant it. She'd known me 2 hours and given me more honesty than my brother had in 10 years. "Thank you," I said. "For what?" "For saying I'm the most normal one here." She let out this sad little laugh. "You're Joe." "I'm sorry." I went straight back to Derek and told him everything. Watched his face shift from calm to something cold and sharp. "He can't do that," Derek said. "Legally he can. It's his property now." "Morley, Joe. After what your grandmother wanted." "That's wrong." He paused. "Does Nadine know?" I looked at him. "Does she?" Before he could answer, Nadine walked over. She'd clearly spotted our intense conversation. "What are you two talking about?" Derek looked right at her. "Did you know your dad is changing his will to cut Joe out of the lake property?" I watched her face rearrange itself in real time. Surprise, then guilt, then a rushed attempt at confusion. "What? Where did you know, Nadine?" The pause told me everything. "Dad mentioned it," she said carefully. "But Joe, you haven't been around. You haven't helped with the property. You haven't come to anything." "I haven't been welcome," I said. "There's a difference. Nobody told you not to come. Dad literally asked why I brought my child today. Does that sound like a welcome to you?" She did what she always does when she's cornered. "This isn't the time or place, Joe." "It's never the time or place," Derek said. "That's the whole problem." Then he looked at Nadine and his voice changed. Not angry. Hurt. "You kept this from me too, Nadine." That shifted everything. Suddenly this wasn't just about me. Derek felt shut out. I did. And for someone like him, someone who runs on honesty, that mattered. "I didn't keep it from you," Nadine said quietly. "I just didn't know how to bring it up." "You bring it up by saying it. That's how." She looked at me then, and for the first time in years I didn't see my perfect older sister. I saw someone exhausted. Someone who'd been playing peacekeeper so long she forgot what peace actually felt like. "Joe," she said. "I'm sorry." I could tell she partly meant it. But partly wasn't enough anymore. "I don't need sorry," I said. "I need you to actually do something." 3 years, Nadine. Not once did you call me and say, "Dad is wrong." You called me to come to this picnic. You didn't call me to say you had my back. She didn't answer. And right then, because this family's timing is truly incredible, my dad walked back outside. Fresh shirt, fresh beer, heading straight for the grill like he was going to restart the whole afternoon and we'd all just go along with it. Derek cut him off before he reached the charcoal. Frank, we need to talk. My dad gave him that dismissive look he spent 62 years perfecting. Son, I think you've said enough today. I haven't even started. Now here's where I need to tell you something. My dad isn't a monster. I know it sounds like it. But Frank Hargrove grew up on this same property with a father who never once said he loved him. He doesn't know how to be soft. He only knows how to control everything. And when someone challenges that, when I started saying no, when I stopped showing up, when his granddaughter walked in today looking just like the man who left me, he got mean. Because mean is the only tool he's ever had. Doesn't excuse a thing. But you need the full picture for what happened next to make sense. That little girl over there, Derek said, pointing to Chloe braiding Lily's hair in the grass, didn't ask to be born into this family. Didn't ask for her dad to leave. And didn't ask to show up here and be treated like she's less than your other grandkids. My dad said nothing. And Joe set boundaries. That's it. That's the whole crime. She said no a few times and you all acted like she burned the house down. And now you're changing your mother's will to punish her for it. My dad's head snapped toward me. I shook my head. He looked at Garrett, Garrett looked at Tasha, and Tasha stared at the sky like she was praying for a sinkhole. That's my business, my dad said. It was your mother's wish, Derek said. You're going to erase Joe from it because she hurt your pride? You're going to punish Chloe because her mom stopped being your doormat. Something cracked behind my dad's eyes. Not anger. Something older. Something that looked like shame. But he wasn't ready to feel it. So he turned around and went back inside. That's what Frank Hargrove does. He walks away. My mom appeared in the doorway. Can we please just have a nice afternoon? Derek said. Diane, we can have a nice afternoon the second this family treats Joe and Chloe like they matter. She pressed her lips together and disappeared. Then something happened that I almost missed. Garrett stood up, walked over to me slowly, hands in his pockets, and said, Joe, I didn't know about the full will thing. I mean, Dad mentioned it. But I told him not to do it. About a month ago. I told him Grandma wouldn't want that. I stared at him. My lazy, non-committal, never-takes-a-stand little brother had actually pushed back on my dad. For me. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. I didn't think you wanted to hear from me. Honestly, he wasn't wrong. I'd written Garrett off years ago. But even he had a limit. And standing there next to Tasha, who was clearly the reason he was growing a spine, I thought, maybe there's hope for him. By this point the picnic was done. Sun going down, food cold, more unspoken words in that backyard than mosquitoes. My parents were inside. Nadine sat alone looking shaken. Derek was helping the kids pack up. And I was standing in my grandmother's yard wondering how we got here. Chloe ran up to me, grass stains all over that yellow sundress, and said, Mama, Lily says I can come to her birthday party next month. Can I? I looked at Nadine. She gave me a small nod. Yeah, baby. You can go. She cheered and ran back to Lily. And right there I made a decision. I wasn't disappearing again. Not because this family deserved me. Most of them didn't, not yet. But because Chloe deserved her cousins. She deserved to run in this yard. She deserved pie at that table. But what none of us knew was that my dad was inside making a phone call. And the person on the other end of that call was about to change absolutely everything. Because Frank Hargrove had been carrying a secret. One that even my mother didn't know. And when it came out, it explained so much about why he treated me the way he did. It nearly destroyed this family before it saved it. I'll tell you exactly what it was because honestly I'm still wrapping my head around it myself. That phone call my dad made? I didn't find out about it for 3 days. 3 days of silence. Nothing from anyone. Nadine texted, hey, and I left it on read because, hey doesn't fix a thing. Then Derek called Tuesday evening. Joe, sit down. Your dad called his brother. Uncle Ray. Most of you have no idea who that is. Honestly, I barely did either. Ray Hargrove moved to Montana 15 years ago after some falling out with my dad that nobody ever explained. Just vanished from the family. I met him maybe 4 times as a kid. Why would he call Ray? Nadine overheard part of it. Your dad was crying, Joe. She heard him say, I'm turning into Dad. I'm doing exactly what he did to you. I had to put the phone down. Because suddenly everything clicked. Here's what Nadine and Derek pieced together. My grandfather Harold played favorites. My dad was the golden child. Ray couldn't do anything right. When my grandmother Opal died and left the property to my dad, trusting him to share it, he kept everything. Told Ray he'd abandoned the family by moving away, so he didn't deserve any of it. Ray fought it, gave up, moved to Montana, cut contact. Same script. Same excuse. Same punishment. My dad did to Ray exactly what he was doing to me. After Derek confronted him at that picnic, something cracked. He called Ray because Ray was the only person who could understand what my dad was finally seeing about himself. That doesn't erase what he did to me and Chloe. But it made everything heavier. Because my dad wasn't just the villain of my story. He was the victim of someone else's. Things started shifting after that. Not from my dad, he was still silent. But around him. Nadine called and said, Derek told me I've been a coward. He's right. I knew Dad was wrong every single time, Joe. But if they were focused on you, they weren't focused on me. There it was. Nadine wasn't clueless. She was strategic. As long as I was the problem, she stayed golden. Then Garrett called, which alone was a shock. Tasha broke up with me. Because of the picnic. She said if I can't stand up for my own sister, she can't trust me to stand up for her. Harsh. But fair. Joe, I went along with Dad because he pays for things. That's the whole reason. I chose money over my sister. I didn't argue. But the fact that he could say it out loud meant something was actually changing. Can I come see Chloe? He asked. I don't even know her favorite color. It's purple. And yes. But my dad still nothing. Until Lily's birthday party in July. Chloe was so excited. She wrapped a friendship bracelet kit with 3 rolls of tape. The wrapping was a disaster, but she was beaming. We walked into Nadine's backyard and there was my dad. No beer. No apron. Just sitting in a lawn chair looking 10 years older. My mom beside him, eyes puffy under fresh makeup. Chloe saw him and stepped behind me. 8 years old and already shielding herself from her own grandfather. Then he stood up. Walked over. And did something I'd never once seen Frank Hargrove do. He knelt down to Chloe's eye level. Hi Chloe. I owe you an apology. What I said at the picnic was mean and wrong. You're a wonderful girl and I'm very sorry. Chloe looked up at me. I nodded. It's okay, Grandpa, she said. Because kids forgive like it costs them nothing. Then he stood and faced me. Tears on his face. In front of everyone. Jolene. I've been a terrible father to you. I did to you exactly what my dad did to Ray. I called your uncle, we talked for 3 hours. And I'm repeating every single mistake he made. I'm not changing the will, he said. The property goes to all 3 of you. The way your grandmother wanted. I called the lawyer yesterday. I couldn't speak. I want you and Chloe to come back. Not because I deserve it. Because she deserves a real family. This doesn't fix everything, I said. I know. And if you ever talk about my daughter like that again, I won't. Derek won't be the only one telling you off next time. He laughed. This broken wet laugh. Fair enough. Chloe tugged my hand. Mama, can I give Lily her present now? Kids don't wait for adults to finish their breakdowns. They've got birthday presents to deliver. The rest of the party was quiet. My mom hugged me while I was cutting cake and whispered, I should have protected you. I didn't say it was okay. But I squeezed her hand. Garrett sat making bracelets with Chloe. His hands were way too big for the tiny beads and she kept laughing. Uncle Garrett, that's not even a pattern. It was the most normal they'd ever been. Derek found me on the porch later. Handed me cake. You did good today, he said. I didn't do anything. You did all this. I just said what needed saying. You kept showing up. That's the hard part, Joe. Why'd you do it, Derek? He shrugged. I kept thinking, if someone treated Lily this way, I'd want somebody to step in. So I stepped in. No grand speech. Just a decent man doing what decent people do. 3 months later, we gathered at the lake property again. My dad had started calling it Opal's place. Small change. Big meaning. Uncle Ray flew in from Montana. First time in 15 years. He and my dad sat on that porch for 2 hours, came back with red eyes and wouldn't say a word about it. But Ray hugged me and said, you look just like your grandmother. And Chloe was out by the water with Lily and Braden, catching frogs, skipping rocks. Braden, the same kid who said she wasn't wanted, now showing her which rocks skip best. Kids move faster than us. Maybe they're smarter too. Nothing's perfect. My dad still has moments. Mom still avoids hard conversations. Garrett's trying, but he's still Garrett. Nadine and I are rebuilding something new because the old version wasn't worth saving. But Derek changed this family. Not by being loud. He just refused to pretend. Saw something wrong and said it out loud. Sometimes one person breaking the silence is all it takes. And Chloe has a family now. Messy, imperfect, figuring it out. But real. That's all I ever wanted for her. So that's my story. Thank you for being here. Seriously. If you liked it, leave a like, it really does help. If something didn't sit right or you would have done things differently, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're going through something like this, you're not crazy, you're not dramatic, and you deserve love. Take care of yourselves.